Good evening. I apologize, I'm a little later than I had intended to be. Got distracted, but we'll get this done and then I can get back to my stuff. You guys can get back to yours. We got chapter 12 today, titled Mirror, Mirror. The broken ore around the restrained man pulled itself together, leaving a bright blue glow in its place. Dimitrik struggled to move, feeling the leather bindings around his body. He was lying on his back, strapped to the toppled chair. Looks like he's waking up. Gareth stared down at the bound man, hoping their plan had worked. With his grip tight on his sword, he prepared himself for the worst. Ravion watched intently, amazed by the healing glow. Its intensity burned brighter than any he'd seen before. Kneeling down, he placed his hand on the man's chest. "Are you yourself?" Demetrius felt a reassuring calm from the touch. Opening his eyes, he looked into the face of his brother. "More so than I have been in a long time, though I'd imagine you need proof before you'll let me up." Ravion smiled. "That would be preferred." "You go by the name Ravion. In our tongue, the name is Radulin, which translates to Raven Wolf. If this isn't enough to verify a greater sense of personal knowledge, my birth name is Demetrius Santel, son of Markil. I was born in the village of Winterhaven, upwards of 228 years old." Ravion froze, unable to process what he was hearing. Questions raced through his mind. He leaned in close enough so the others couldn't hear. Only one from that point in my life could know any of that. So believe me when I say, if you're lying to me, you and I are going to have issues. Ravion pulled the tail on the central strap, unhooking it from the buckle. Crennan picked up the chair, sitting them upright. Gareth unbuckled the other straps, tossing them roughly to the council room table. Within moments, Demetrius was free of his bindings, pulling himself up, standing on his own 2 feet for the first time in what felt like years. "Ravion, my brother, fear not, I speak truth. The age of Dalarai draws near, but first I need a tailor. I feel dirty just wearing this tainted garb." An overwhelming pride swelled within Ravion. Lost in his emotion, he grabbed his younger brother, hugging him tightly. "I'm glad to have you back. I feared I'd never see you again." Releasing his hold, he stared into his eyes, feeling the bond he hadn't experienced since he was a child. "Your clothes can wait. We have much to discuss." Returning to his seat, Ravion secured the satchel resting on the table. He opened the flap and removed the black book from within. Gently placing it upon the table in front of him, he sat quietly for the others to take their seats. "We've already discussed the nature of this book in private. From what little I've been able to learn, it serves as a sort of guide to the creation of this realm. I haven't found all of its secrets, nor should I. That much power is too great for any one man to possess. Gareth, would you mind repeating where you came across this book?" The one-eyed warrior squinted at the shimmering binding, recalling the day it had come to his possession. "I tripped over the bag when I was fighting the Drew that took my eye. I've recalled how I got it many times, but none of that makes it. But none of it makes sense. It's almost as if the bag grabbed a hold of me and held on for the ride." Ravion opened the book, exposing the blank pages within. Flipping from one to another, he showed the empty contents to those in the room. "You alluded that you were able to view the writing on the pages. Would you mind telling us how you managed that?" "Blood seems to do the trick for me." "Blood?" "Yes, blood. A single drop was all it took. It soaked into the page and returned as writing. Doesn't seem very sanitary. Oh well." Drawing his dagger, Ravion laid a shallow gash along the backside of his forearm, just deep enough to expose the red light fluid. The beating droplets hit the page, disappearing immediately. Almost as quickly as they'd vanished, the pages sprang to life, revealing passages, maps, and pictures, even the occasional spell. Gareth leaned over, surprised by the scribing red ink forming on the page. "It didn't show me even a fraction of that. What makes your blood so special?" Ravion scanned the words, paying special attention to the smallest of details. "Because my people, or at least someone very familiar with my people, made this book." Section break. "You're sure this is where you found him?" Ravion stared into the mirror, watching the dulled reflection of his friends. "Absolutely. My mace is here. What other evidence do you need?" Gareth ran his hand along the dust-covered surface. Demetrix ran his hand along the dust-covered surface of the mirror. What's every portal have? He turned to look at the others. Magic, Krenin answered, giving a toothy smile. Two sides, Ravion corrected. Exactly. This thing radiates magic unlike any I've felt before. But it's not pulling, it's pushing. If we're translating the book properly, this is a portal. One side is here. Where's the other? Ravion pulled the book from his satchel, flipping through the pages to a specific passage. They refused to hide their contents so long as he held possession of the tome. All it says is, the world builder has grown unstable. Tasked by the gods, we built the prison, locking it away behind reflections of the past. It was an unfortunate loss, but the good of all creation remains at stake. The doorway shall serve as the only link to our divine providence. May all those abandoned forgive us, for there was no other choice. Should the seals be broken, all hope is lost, for the gods have failed. It's cryptic, but I can't shake the feeling that the Drew were trying to open this doorway. I can't imagine they succeeded. I think we would know if a dark god was descending upon our world, but we also have to assume they made some progress. As protectors of this land, I believe it falls on us to reestablish any broken seals that may have been damaged. Gareth listened intently, absorbing the words. You want to go into some unknown prison with an evil god to make sure he hasn't broken free? You know I have your back, but that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard escape your mouth. That's no different than unlocking the cell that holds the most vile creature just to see if it was actually locked up in the first place. Why would you risk it? An unexpected voice echoed in the dark chamber, drawing their attention. I'm afraid you have little choice. Perryman stood at the entrance, taking in the sight of the three men and their half-orc. My apologies, I didn't mean to startle you. Ravion took a knee, bowing before the former Baron. My liege, what would you have of us? I would have you stand. I'm not your Baron. You really must accept this. Ravion returned to his feet, welcoming the powerful human. You'll always be my Baron, regardless of any respect I had for the Lord. Have for the lords and their titles. I have sworn an oath to no other. Spoken like a true warrior of the Dollar Eye, Perriman paced toward the mirror, stopping just in front of it. What do you want, Bray? No, I want you to shut the door, go out, because I need to finish this.
Dad,
I told you not to come in here until I was done.
but Dad, I have a question.
What?
What can I get on? My phone's dead.
I don't-
My Chromebook's gone for the night.
You can be... I told you no more tonight. Now go.
You said no.
Go play the Xbox. I don't care. Go. Get. Shoot. Ravion watched the man, recalling their last meeting. What brings you here, if it's my place to know? In truth, I came seeking you, all of you. Since the fall of the Drew, a vast darkness has set over Dalmora. It was slowed with the banishment of your alter ego. He turned, speaking directly to the Matrix. But it continues to build. I fear time for containment has passed. The source has stopped. The source must be stopped, or all will be lost. The tower is no more. They didn't heed my warnings quick enough. The base stones were corrupted beyond repair. Perhaps she'll return in time, but alas, I cannot promise. A darkness is set in the heart of Shadgull. Treasongull was without an experienced lord. Mount Thurin hides behind their walls, ignoring the rest of us. I'm afraid the last pockets of resistance fall between Marbane and Krondar. Since one is currently supporting the other, this task falls to your order. What would the source of this corruption be? Gareth interjected, testing the mage, knowing there wouldn't be a direct response. That I cannot answer, wish as I may. Sadly, I'm just a broken man with little more than a handful of knowledge to pass along. Perriman returned his focus to the mirror, looking into the dark surface. Running his hand along the edge, he refused to touch it. The shadow threatens us beyond this speculum. I doubt it can truly be stopped, but if anyone can slow it down, I believe you to be our best chance. Spinning around, Perryman marched toward the entrance, giving us final bits of information. As for your current predicament, I suggest talking to your new friends about this mirror's twin. I believe they'll be able to offer more knowledge than I. Ravion, keep it close. You'll need it. Reaching the entryway, he paused, looking over the group of Druslayers one final time. I wish you the utmost success. We're all counting on you, whether we know it or not. Without another word, he stepped into his unhindered door of swirling energy and disappeared. I hate when they do that. Gareth shook his head, walking toward the mirror. I'll never see eye to eye with his brother. Impossible on two fronts. Impossible on two fronts now, but I will never see eye to eye with his brother. Impossible on two fronts now, but I understand he is not his brother. I know you trust him, and it's not likely many will remain for me to play with here. He placed his hand on Ravion's shoulder. I'll follow your lead on this one. Demetrix and Krenin approached the pair, awaiting the decision. And another section break. I don't care what it says. I'm not going to have anything to do with that book. Sonaria turned away, refusing to look at the pages. It's not my intention to press. I just need to know what you know about the mirrors. Ravion closed the book, shoving it back into the satchel. Pulling a chair, he took a seat. Please enlighten me, and I will be out of your hair, never to ask you about it again. She turned to face him. Approaching, she sat on his lap, wrapping her arms around his shoulders. Don't make me promises you can't keep. Leaning in, she kissed his cheek. You and I both know what would happen the next time I have knowledge you might need. Ravion found it strange to think of her as one of the Druafar. She seemed so familiar despite the coldness she often displayed when protecting her people. She was strong and capable, traits he was all too familiar with. A faint smile breached his lips. An unfortunate side effect of my position. I'm sorry, I know you don't want to talk about your past, and I don't mean to pry. She sighed heavily, keeping her arms around him. The Druafar have a myth about their creation. It's said a dark mirror sucked the magic from their bodies, turning them into warriors of the night. A few different myths have come and gone, but that's always been the general perception. Releasing her hold, Sonaria stretched across him, grabbing the table's edge to keep herself firmly seated. Finding the hidden lever, she watched the edges of the drawer appear. Pulling it open, she grabbed a stack of parchment and quickly flipped through, finding one in particular that was torn about the edges and stained with yellow and black. It appeared as if someone had tried to burn it. There were several small holes throughout, and the corners were nearly gone. Handing the age sheet to him, she continued. Shortly after Naziel took power, rumors surfaced that someone had found a map to Eldarion. I don't know if there was any truth to it, at least not until I found this. I believed it nothing more than a rumor. The council was known to circulate such to promote work among the less willful. Even those of us driven by an unquenchable bloodthirst found solace in the prospect of life away from battle. We were little more than slaves to the council's will. We'd work ourselves to death in pursuit of a simple life, only for another to come along and pick up where we left off. Many of us learned their tricks and simply stopped playing. But thousands of others had no choice. It kept the council in power and distracted the rest of us from rising up. So when I found this map, I didn't believe what it was. Sonaria gestured for him to look at it. Ravion unfolded the parchment and studied the markings staining the rough surface. He could see the forest edge of what he guessed was Evanwood. Near the northwest corner of the forest, there was an opening labeled by a jutting tower and a freestanding archway beneath it. It wasn't much to go on, but it was better than anything else he had. Folding the map, Ravion returned his attention to her. The myths claim that the mirror is in Eldarion. If this map is real, that's where you'll find it. Though I must admit, I hope you never find it. Nothing good has come from that place. Pressing her lips against him, she held him for several moments. Breaking away, she looked deep into his eyes. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose you either. I'm sorry for asking you to recall darker times. I know those memories haunt you. I swear to you here and now, I won't ask you again, even if you're the only person who has the knowledge I seek. I'd rather go without than force you to relive that life. Ravion pulled her tight, feeling her warmth. I'm afraid this is something I must do. I don't know what it will require of me or even how long I'll be gone. Just know that I love you and I'll be back as soon as I'm able. Cenarius stood, allowing him to rise. Please, be careful. I don't want to know what life feels like without you. She wrapped her hands around his, feeling their connection stronger than ever. Be safe, my love. If you require anything in my absence, send a message to Marvin. I've left specific instructions with a loyal operative named William Carter. He'll handle any situation that may arise with the utmost discretion. Ravion pulled her close, bringing his lips to hers. It was a lingering kiss, one that nearly stopped time. He didn't know how long he'd be away from her. If this was the last kiss, he wanted it to be a memorable one. Breaking away, he looked into those almond-shaped eyes full of love. I'll see you soon. Cenarion knew he wasn't being fully honest. She could feel the uncertainty in him. He didn't know if he was going to come back any more than she did. Such was the life of a soldier. Each time they marched into battle, they took a chance on it being their last. She forced a smile, reassuring him. Thank you, my love. I'll dream of you every night you're away, longing for the day that you're in my arms again. Please, be careful. You don't know what you're walking into. Another section break. The jagged vines wrapped around the black structure, leaving an eerie feeling in the air. Excuse me. The ground was cracked in all directions. Little more than dead grass and vicious barbed weeds sprouted through the desolate dirt, strangling anything they could find. Krenin stared into the face of an orc statue erected at the entrance of the temple, the only structure that remained completely unhindered by the dead land surrounding it. It feels like its eyes are following me. Krenin wobbled back and forth, testing his theory. Oftentimes such artifacts are designed to entice that feeling, and makes the observer feel uneasy and therefore easier to manipulate. Demetrix knocked on the statue, listening to the solid stone beneath his knuckles. See, it's only stone. Let's just get this over with. I don't like the smell of this place. Gareth stepped through the cracked opening, pushing against the stone door in his path. It opened freely, granting them access. Ready to draw his twin cutlasses if needed, Gareth marched into shadow. Ravion followed closely behind, lost in the architecture around him. He could see the clear signs of his people, but these markings were something else. They flowed like Eldar, but their symbols weren't of any dialect he'd seen before. He made his way into the ancient temple, dwarfed by the sheer space around them. "Seeing anything?" Krenin asked, searching the room for anything of interest. "Over there." Gareth pointed his cutlass toward the altar on the far side of the room. One of the nearby doorways stood open, awaiting their entry. Only open door I've seen. I guess that's where the previous visitors ventured. The group crossed the room, finding the small antechamber off the side of the nave. Stepping onto the ancient stairwell, their walls flared to light. Damn sinuses are acting up. Alright. Nope, another sneeze. I hate these damn things. Season changes suck. Alright, the walls flared to life. The mounted sconces glowed a purple flame, illuminating their descent down the twisting corridor. Reaching the bottom, they passed into a small room. A pile of purple stone lay crumbled in the center, and the rear wall was reflective, much like the mirror they had previously seen. Ravion felt a strange familiarity with the stone. He could feel the dagger calling him, begging to be touched. Fighting against his will, he stepped past the crumbled statue and approached the ancient speculum. Pressing his hand against the semi-solid surface, ripples Pressing his hand against it, the semi-solid surface sent ripples out, expanding from his touch. It looks like this is the place. Taking a deep breath, he walked through, feeling the water-like substance swallow him. One by one, they pressed onward, leaving the dark chamber behind them. And that is the end of the chapter. I'm not going to be on here a whole lot longer, just because I've got other stuff I've got to get done this evening. And, you know, as I already said, this is a late start. We'll resume next Sunday, preferably a little earlier. I like to do it between 5 and 6 p.m. just because that seems to be the most convenient for most people. But, you know, I have stuff to do too, so. Anyway, we will talk to you guys later. This will be uploaded on YouTube pretty soon, as will all the other videos should already be there, so. Be sure to check out my page there, subscribe to it, that way you can get the updates for it, and, you know, if you don't have time to read the book, then you can at least, you know, turn on YouTube and just listen to it. I set up playlists on them, so you can go through the whole book that way, up until when the audiobook is available, so. Anyways, have a good one. If you have read the books, be sure to leave a review on Amazon or Goodreads. They help a lot more than you guys realize, but we will talk to you later. Bye.